What is up, everybody? Welcome to No BS Wednesday. I'm excited to be here. So for those of you that do not know who I am, because I know there's a lot of new faces, a lot of new names in this group. For those of you who do not know who I am, my name is Josh Payne. I am a physical therapist. I am the owner of Freedom Physical Therapy. I'm the owner of Concierge PT Business Coaching. I'm a dad to a wonderful little 7-month-old boy named Hudson, and I'm a husband as well. So thank you, Russell, Aaron, Colby. Thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it. Can one of you... This is the one that you've been waiting for. Absolutely. So we're going to talk about subscription models tonight. And give me, I want you guys, for those of you that are joining live, I want you guys to kind of give me a hands up or something to let me know if this is a topic that you've been looking forward to hearing. Because I know that a lot of people have asked me to do this topic, but subscription models, how can you do it in your own practice? And why do I believe that it will completely change what your practice looks like and what your practice is able to do? Not only for your patients, but then also for yourself. So Russell, Aaron, Kimberly, Colby, Aaron, thank you everybody for joining. I appreciate it. And so we're going to get rolling right on this thing, okay? Subscription models. I want to first give you the definition of concierge medicine, which this literally comes off of Wikipedia, but I've read it before on the podcast, and I literally think it's such a good thing to start this conversation off with for you guys to start understanding why a subscription model can really work. So if you want to write this one down, or if somebody wants to write it in the comment section, I'd appreciate it. But concierge medicine is a relationship between a patient and a provider in which the patient pays an annual fee or retainer. So that's what concierge medicine is. Doesn't matter if it's a concierge MD, it doesn't matter if it's a concierge PT, doesn't matter if it's a concierge OT. That is what it is. It's basically a relationship between a patient and provider to where they are providing an annual fee or retainer. We'll get into that into a second. But then it goes on to say, in exchange, and this is the important part, in exchange, the doctors agree to provide enhanced care, including a commitment to limit patient loads to ensure adequate time and availability for each patient. Wow. I mean, isn't that what we're all trying to do right now? In exchange, the doctors agreed to provide enhanced care, including a commitment to limit patient loads to ensure adequate time and availability for each patient. Give me a comment in the comment section. Give me a yes or a no. Is that what we're all trying to do here? Is that why we're all interested in concierge practices? We're trying to increase the amount of time that we're with clients, and we're trying to provide them an enhanced quality of care. That's what we're all trying to do, right? And so if we're trying to provide an enhanced quality of care, one way that you can be looked at as an enhanced quality of care or a quality service as a PT is to actually provide a subscription model. A subscription model is going to do a few things for you. Number one is it's going to have your patients look at you in a different light. Number two, it's going to create better compliance over the long term with your patients. But then number three, as some of you could probably imagine, number three is going to create more stability in your practice. And so how many of you would want all of those three things? Better outcomes for your patient, better results, better everything for your patients. For those of you watching, which one of you, is that something that you're interested in finding out how to do? Sorry, guys, my thing is lagging just a little bit, but hopefully you can hear me. All right, so we're going to get into the two different types first. Gosh, my computer's really, really lagging. Let's take that off. Okay. Hopefully you guys can still see me. Man, Facebook, if you watch this thing, like guys, get your shit together. Honestly, like this has happened to me almost every single live stream, I feel like, in the past few weeks. It's, I've got great internet here, great computer, but it just lags and lags and lags. I don't get it. Facebook, fix your stuff. But point being, let's start with the two types of subscriptions that you could have. Basically, number one, a monthly. Number two, an annual. Number one, a monthly. Number two, an annual. All right. Patrick, Katie, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Let me turn off my phone so we don't get any more notifications. Okay. Number one, monthly. Number two, annual. And so I want to start with how have I done it so that you guys can get an idea of what I've done and how it's been beneficial for me in my practice. So I think some of you may know me, some of you may not. But I've basically started a monthly subscription model in my practice. And so I have two ways of doing that. Number one is what I call like my platinum monthly. The platinum monthly is basically reserved for only people that I think would be a good fit for it. But I'll tell you guys the nitty-gritty of what it looks like. For my busy professionals and executives, it's basically $1,000 a month per month for 12 months, so that they're actually committing to 12 months of working with me and improving their health. And in return, they're basically getting up to 8 visits per month. I don't roll over visits. Only in rare cases will we roll over visits. Like if they get like the flu or something like that and it knocks them out for like 3 weeks. Rare cases, I'll do that because, guys, I'm not an a-hole. Like I'll do that stuff, to if needed for specific situations. But that's basically the terms of the deal. And I'll put them on basically an annual, or a monthly retainer. And so that's that high level platinum. And obviously not everybody can afford that. Not everybody would be interested in that. Really, the men and women that are interested in doing that with me are those high level people that are really looking for, honestly, having their own personal physical therapist. And so I kind of keep that in my back pocket to provide to those types of clients that are at that level of care. But the one that I assume most of you are going to be interested in, I know, Katie, it is a lot of money. But the one that most of you are going to be interested in is what I just simply call my base monthly program. My base monthly program, this is what it is. So I charge $175 per visit normally. For anybody that wants to be a part of my monthly program, which is just from a month-to-month basis, they can come on to my monthly program if they want to work with me for $125 per visit. So yes, that's a $50 visit, drastic decrease per visit rate. And that actually came about because I was at $125 a visit, then I moved to $175, and I was like, okay, you know what? What about if I just keep people at $125 as long as they commit to a monthly retainer, basically. And so this is all I do. It's very, very simple, guys. Like, don't make these things more complicated than they need to be. But it's as simple as they agree to a monthly, and if they pay me on a monthly basis for their visits that they want already, then they will get the visits at a $125 per visit rate. So at the beginning of every single month, we will come together and let's say my patient's name is Kathy. We'll basically figure out based on her plan of care if it's once a week. Okay, let's set up all of our visits once a week for the next 4 weeks, and then she will pay me up front for that. So those 4 visits would be $500 for that month. Or if it's 3 visits, $375 per month. 2 visits, $250 a month, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I basically give them full reign to do that, and there's no set amount. And so if they're going on vacations or something like that, that's perfectly fine. That's great. If you're going on vacation the first 2 weeks of the month, that's great. But all I ask is that for those second 2 weeks, if you want visits scheduled, you'll basically have to pay me up front still at the beginning of the month for those 2 visits or for however many visits. And so it's as simple as just at the beginning of the month, we figure out our dates, our times for all of our visits, and we schedule those visits out. Jordan's got a good question. He said, why monthly instead of yearly? I love your model. Just curious to hear your thoughts. If they're committing to a year, what's the difference? It's a damn good. I mean, it's a damn good question, Jordan. It's just honestly, this is my best answer. I think a yearly is 100% possible, and I know physical therapists that are doing it. But I started with the monthly. It's working very, very well, and there's no reason to change. I haven't really had any problems come up with it, and so why change something that's not broken? I guess is my main answer to that. But Jordan, man, I think there's so much possibility out there in regards to concierge practices. You could absolutely do a yearly model. Like I said, the possibilities are endless. You just gotta get basically the confidence to throw out the offer to your patient. And so I'm going to talk about how I did that as well as we get going. But if anybody's got any questions or thoughts, concerns, drop it in the comment section and let's keep rolling here. Katie says, if you have someone on the annual type of agreement, what happens if 3 months in someone backs out? That would have to be kind of on your own discretion, Katie, I think. That's kind of why I prefer the monthly. They can do monthlies on a regular basis, and they can decide at their own free will if they want to continue or not. But the majority of the time, they want to continue because they're seeing results. So let's talk about next why I do it. And so lots of people will ask, like, well, why do you do that? I've heard some people say, oh, isn't that creating like patients that grow too attached to you, and it's things like that. It's just like, well, you know what? My clients see massive amounts of results because they dedicate themselves to a year at a time. They see really good results, not only with their physical therapy, but then also physically. They make drastic changes in the course of the year, and we work towards larger goals than just getting out of freaking pain. Getting people back on the slopes, getting back on the road bike and riding 50 miles again, getting back and running again, getting back into walking again. Like, we're actually working on cool, actual goals that people want in their life instead of this boring stuff called getting people out of pain. There's always another reason why somebody wants to get out of pain. And so that's my answer to that. But I want to tell you guys why I do it with patients. And so I even give my patients three reasons in person. So if they ask me, why do you do this monthly model? Well, it's for 3 reasons. Number one, I've seen that since I've changed over to a monthly model, I've had an increase in compliance. Because you've got skin in the game, you've already paid for your visits, you're more likely to follow up on those visits and to commit to those visits. That's number one, compliance. Number 2, because there's been better compliance, we've had better results. Because there's more compliance, there's been better results with my clients. And then number 3, and I tell this to all of my clients because they usually all ask before they sign. Number 3 is it's a better business model for my family and I. This is how I provide for my family. And I had a difficult time having a practice that was up and down. And so I only want to work with patients that are extremely committed to their health and their fitness. And by establishing this model, I've been able to work with people that are extremely motivated. And also in return, it's provided a very stable practice for my family and I. And I have never had a single person ever tell me, oh, wow, that's not cool, man, or that's terrible. Pretty much the majority of the time, 99% of the time, the person that I'm sitting across will say, well, that's incredibly reasonable. And that is a good business decision for you. It makes sense to them. And so those are the 3 reasons that I tell people why I do this, because you will get that answer. I mean, you will get that question. So far, if you guys got any questions, feel free to shoot my way. It looks like we got a few. Do you think the monthly markets or sells better than the yearly, as it seems less of a commitment? Yes, I do think the monthly works much better than the yearly. Why? Because most people these days, think about even Netflix subscriptions and all of this stuff, it's all monthly. Every single one of it is monthly. There's a reason why lots of companies don't do yearly memberships. They may have that option, but then they always have the monthly membership option because everybody chooses the monthly membership option. Michael, you say he makes more per month charging 125 per visit. So if the patient wants 4 visits that month, Josh makes more money compared to a yearly at rate X that gives him a warning cap. Yeah, definitely, Michael. So what are you usually doing on those visits? Mostly fitness programming, Colby asks. Colby, that's a really good question. So I kind of go through a model with my patients. It usually starts off looking like physical therapy because they're usually reaching out to me for a problem. And then we get them out of that problem, and then they start to look like fitness or personal training. I call it wellness training. But basically, the visits start off by looking like physical therapy, and then they slowly transition to looking like wellness training. And honestly, that's what these patients want. The patients that are going to commit to a concierge style of care like this, they want long-term results. They want something. Something is driving them to want to work with a PT long-term and have a PT that's personalized to them. That's why I like to always tell people, look, I want you to feel like you have a personal physical therapist on your side, because that's what I am. So really good question, Colby. Oh man, we got a lot of questions coming in real quick. Before I answer those, and Patrick, that's a good point. 1,000 per month sounds cheaper than 12,000 per year. Absolutely. How do you find clients, patients who are motivated and willing to subscribe to the monthly membership? You know, Russell, I'm going to do lots of different No BS Wednesdays on finding clients, but I'm going to just give you one short and sweet response. You got to be freaking relentless, man. How can you get in front of those types of clients that are going to want to pay for that stuff and that are motivated and that are ready to go? And that basically, you know, I call this No BS Wednesday. I tell a lot of my coaching people in my 3-month coaching program that, look, lots of my patients like me, and they'll also like you if you're not a yes man, if you're not a yes woman. People like by their professional to be told what to do. And so, like with my clients, I do a lot of no BS, like a lot of no bullshit. And I tell them exactly what to do. So where can you find those types of people, Russell? Be relentless at trying to find that person, and you can definitely find it. I'll tell you that marketing myself, networking myself, becoming part of business mastermind groups, reaching out to concierge doctors have all been extremely beneficial for me. All right, so we're gonna get into how do you make the transition with your clients, because this is something that I think a lot of people have asked me is, well, how did you make that transition? And because I was seeing a lot of patients not for this model, it was simply a per visit model, and then all of a sudden I just switched to a monthly. And at the time I already had like 10 consistent clients. And so this is how I went about it. I created my plans. I bumped my price up to $175 because that was a goal for me. Is I wanted to be at $175 a visit. I felt like compared to the other clinics in the area, that's where I really legitimately needed to be considered this Ferrari of physical therapy services. Like I didn't want to, like I actually wrote about this in my book. I didn't want to be looked at as the Holiday Inn convenient physical therapist providing a concierge PT service. I wanted my service to look like and feel like, and through the entire process, like the Ritz-Carlton of physical therapy practices. And so for me, the first step was like, okay, well, I got to bump up my price because nobody's going to take me seriously. Nobody's going to look at me in that way unless I bump up my price. So I bumped up my price to $175. Then I approached my clients and I basically said, look, I am moving to $175 per visit, but since you've been working with me, I am willing to do something for you. I'm transitioning my practice to a monthly pay because it's a better move for these 3 reasons. And basically I'm willing to keep you at that $125 per visit as long as you commit to paying on a monthly basis at the beginning of every single month for your visits that we have allotted out for that month. And at the time, I had about 9 out of 10 clients commit. And it was as easy, guys, as just having the conversation. Having the conversation and putting the offer out there. I think that is the most difficult part for a lot of us, is putting the offer out there because it scares us. But a lot of times the more and more people that I coach in this area, a lot of times the more and more that I see that as long as you put that offer out there and you explain why you're doing it and you have a good relationship with these clients, they are going to understand why you're doing it. And so I had 9 out of 10 convert. The other woman just said, hey, I'd like to just continue at 175 per visit. And guess what? Crazy enough, she still sees me at 175 per visit to this day. Great. You're paying a $50 extra per visit, but if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. It is what it is. People have the right to make their own decisions, right? All right, monthly plan, and they miss an appointment for whatever reason. What happens? All right, really good question, Kate. I'm sorry, Katie, not Kate. Katie, if they miss an appointment, this is kind of based on how I feel about it. And so I have had to be very strict about this, because if you get in the practice of rolling over visits each month, you can be getting to the beginning of each month and being like, well, there's $250 down the drain. There's $375 off the board. There's that. You can get into actually a point of losing a lot of money in your practice if you freely roll over visits. And so I have people sign a cancellation form that basically says, if you do not cancel within 24 hours, you will be charged for the full price of the visit. And I enforce that 100%. If they do not give me 24 hours for the visit, honestly, there's no questions asked. I'm not going to give them, roll that over to the next month. Now, the times that I do that mainly are for like sickness reasons. If they get sick, if they have the flu, something happens, God forbid they go to the hospital, something like that. In those cases, I've always rolled over the visits. Like I said, I'm not trying to be an a-hole, but guys, like one thing that you can learn from me in learning in this process is we got to run a business here. You are a business person now. You are a business owner, and we've got to learn how to become business owners and not just trying to please everybody. And when it comes to money, you've got to just look at it as business. It is what it is. Money is what it is. Money is just currency. Money is just energy. That's how they get their physical therapy from you. But getting into a practice of rolling over those visits is I think is a dangerous place to be. And so, yeah, pretty much only in case of sickness and health reasons will I roll over visits. So hopefully that's an answer to your question, Katie. But here's further. Some of you may be asking, well, what do I do for patients that I don't know yet? You talked about patients that you already had on in your practice and you made the transition with them. What do I do when they're new patients? Okay, so this is what I do, and I talk about this in my book as well, The Concierge PT Success Formula, is basically when I bring new patients on, I want them to get to know me. And so usually they come on with me because they have a specific problem. And so I set them up, I get them on board, and I basically sell them on a plan of care that's going to fix their issue. So whether that's, 2 times a week for 6 weeks, 1 time a week for 6 weeks, whatever I feel like is going to fix their issue. I get to know them during that time. I give them exceptional quality of care, and I deliver. Obviously, doesn't happen every single time. We all know that as physical therapists, but I get to know them. I build a relationship with them, and then basically I feel them out. I figure out, is this person a good fit for my monthly programs? And so I work with them, I fix them, and then I approach basically that conversation. And so I call them quick fix patients. They come on with a plan of care. I fix them. And then I approach the conversation with the people that I want to continue working with that I think would be a good fit for the monthly programs. And I say, hey, I have this monthly program that I believe you'd be a really, really good fit for, because I'd really like to work with you the rest of this year so that we can continue to push forward on strength building and continue to lock in the strength so that you don't have this problem again. And I'll even tell them sometimes, lots of physical therapists, lots of strength coaches, lots of personal trainers don't go far enough. We take a long time to build strength and to actually create basically create results to where an injury doesn't come back. That actually takes a significant amount of time. And so I explain that to my patients, and explain that basically these visits moving forward are going to look more like personal training. I call it wellness training. And I asked them if they would be willing to talk about what my wellness training package looks like. Well, this is what it looks like. Each visit's $125 per visit instead of that $175 per visit. And you basically, all I ask is that you pay on a monthly basis, and we'll draw out what you need to have, what frequency, what you need to do to have the progress that you need to have. And then we'll commit to a monthly plan of care where we'll continue to move forward. But from here, what you can expect from me is I'm going to come in and I'm going to make you sweat. This is going to be like a personal training session, but under the supervision of a PT. I want to help you to reach your strength goals. This is what I love to do, and this is what I want to continue. This is why I think I can help you. And so we move on to that portion of the care. All right. Katie asks, have you ever experienced a client that you worked with saw for a few times a week for a month or so, and then they didn't get any better? I'm afraid of that. That's a lot of money to throw around if they don't get the results they want. Yes. So Katie, this has happened. This has happened multiple times. And I'm going to tell you this answer. When you're becoming a cash-based physical therapist, we are no longer in a clinic where we can tell them, hey, just go up to the front desk and oh yeah, we'll get more visits for you through insurance and go deal with it at the front desk. We can't do that stuff anymore. And so this happens all the time in insurance clinics, but we don't think twice about it. It's just part of normal life of being a PT. Am I right? Give me a yes or no. We all have clients that have dramatic results, and we all have clients that maybe don't have so good results. It depends on the patient. Of course, it depends on the therapist. But the point being is that's something that we all deal with. And Patrick says, that's my worst fear. It was mine too, Patrick. But here's the thing. We have to dissociate ourselves from this money thing. We have to emotionally detach ourselves from this money thing because they are reaching out to us because they want a higher level of service. If we are beating ourselves up 1 month in and saying, oh my gosh, this patient paid me $1,000 and I didn't get them better. I suck at what I do. This is horrible. Oh my gosh, Kathy, I'm so sorry. I'm going to give you a refund. Do any of you guys think that's a good way to run a business? Give me a yes or no. Because I thought about this same question, Katie and Patrick. I thought about this same thing. What am I going to do? And here's what I've realized. If you give people above and beyond care, you work your butt off and you show them that you care about them, you give them compassionate care. Yes, there's going to be some people that may be a little bit irked or maybe even a little bit mad that they didn't get the results that they desired. That may happen. But you're going to have to be okay with that. And you're going to have to be okay with saying, look, we haven't gotten the results that we expected. We've got to be okay with that. And we've got to keep pushing forward because we haven't been able to do this, this, and this. You've got to be able to continue to push your patient. You've got to believe in yourself and know as long as there's nothing strange going on and you need to refer out, but if it's an orthopedic issue that you can fix, and that you truly feel like you can fix, then you need to continue to push forward and not be afraid of the money. Because if you let the money dictate your plan of care, you're not going to be as effective as a physical therapist. Am I right? If you let the money dictate the plan of care, you're not going to be as effective as a physical therapist. And I think the inclination that a lot of people want to do when they start a practice like this is, let's just try to maybe go at like a every other week basis and see if it fixes your injury. Because we're worried about their finances. Now, I don't want you guys to think that I'm mean when I say this, but last time I checked, none of you have anything to do with their finances. Am I right? None of you are bankers. None of you know what they have in their accounts. None of you have anything to do with their financial situation. So this is easier said than done, Katie and Patrick, but you've got to work to the point after starting your practice of dissociating yourself from that and just giving them your professional advice from visit to visit to visit. Be that professional that they want you to be. If a dentist does surgery on you, most dentists we pay thousands of dollars to see, even with insurance. We still pay fees for their services. If a dentist does a cleaning on you or a whitening on you, and you come back and you say, "Wow, that didn't really do crap," do you think that dentist is ever going to say, "Hey, we'll give you your money back," or "I'm so sorry, we didn't do a good job. Let's see how we can rectify that situation"? Honestly, in most cases, no. They're just going to say, "I'm sorry that you feel that way. If you'd like to set up another whitening, we could do that for you." They're going to continue to push forward and try to find answers for you. That's what all other professionals do. But because a lot of us physical therapists are used to being in insurance clinics, we're used to having this mindset, and we're not used to dealing with cash on a regular basis. And so let me answer some of these questions. Let me know what you guys think about what I just said too. Jordan says, some folks offer a money back guarantee. How do you feel about that? The guy who I know who does this has never asked for a refund. I think that's perfectly fine, Jordan. I've provided refunds in the past to patients to actually, I shouldn't say patients, to just one specific patient. I did give her money back because she wasn't 100% satisfied. Perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. I apologize that she didn't get the results that she wanted. I gave her money back and we moved on. So anyway, Jordan says, how do you feel about that? Anyway, sorry, I already answered that one. Russell says, but look at those doctors. They charge out the nose. Do they promise their care will be 100%? Exactly, Russell. Exactly. Look, guys, we all know we're good physical therapists, but are we going to be able to solve everybody's problems? Are we going to be able to fix everybody 100%? The realistic answer is no. It's just not possible. There's always going to be somebody that we're maybe not going to be able to fix. And so you can do two things. Number one, you can continue to be push forward and be confident in what you're doing. Or number two, you can realize that you're just making no substantial progress with the patient, and you can basically refer them to somebody else. So two great ways that you can really serve your patients if that situation comes up, Katie. Does that help? Let me know if that helps with you guys. Jeremy, Irina, thank you guys for coming on. But that is subscription models. That's how I've implemented them in my practice. But I want to talk about one more thing. And the biggest thing is, and something, a reason why a lot of you are probably watching this right now is, what has it done for my practice? And it really has created better results for my patients. My patients love it. I've got patients telling me you're the best kept secret. I love that I found this, and I love that I'm a part of your concierge program. Before I'm hiring on a PT right now. Before I hired him on, I was no longer accepting new patients. And so I would even tell my patients that, and that made them feel very included and have this very inclusive physical therapist that doesn't accept new patients. And because I was at a point where I really couldn't accept new patients, I was running ragged. I had too many patients. And so I had to basically close that down. But here's the thing. It's created great results with my patients. It's created great consistency with my patients. It's created great compliance with my patients. But it has created a practice to where my wife and I can actually know and believe and feel safe with a physical therapy practice, which I think is something that I was searching for when I started my practice. Was I experienced so much of this that I was just like, man, what would it be like if I could create a practice that was more like this? What would it do to my level of care with my patients? What would it do for me if I wasn't stressed on a regular basis about where I was getting my patients? What would that do for me and my family? And I'll tell you guys, it has changed everything. It's changed everything. And now I have the opportunity to transfer that over and give it over to Jordan, who's going to be the physical therapist that's going to run the show while I move back to Texas. Now I have the opportunity to kind of pass that on to him and for him to continue with it. Guys, it's been an amazing experience. And it's all comes down to one thing. is I actually had, the courage to ask my patients and have that conversation and tell them why, no questions asked, I was moving to this monthly model. And that's how I wanted my practice to run from here on out. Is I told them just from the bottom of my heart, truthfully, why I was doing this. Better results, better consistency, better compliance, and a better business model for me and my family. Everybody in my practice respected that. Everybody who came along in my practice after that respected that. And they will respect you guys too. But subscription models, if you guys want to be looked at as almost like a primary care provider, a subscription model can push our health, basically our profession to a whole nother level. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. Is when I have patients tell me they call me before their doctor because they have such easy access to me, that's a really awesome feeling. And obviously, if I ever feel like I need to immediately contact their doctor, I do so. But we talk about pushing our profession. We talk about being looked at as the doctors of physical therapy that we want to be looked at as. We talk about having more respect like chiropractors have and like doctors have. This is a way to gain more respect with your patients. This is a way to be a powerful provider for your patients and to actually get substantial results for your patients over the long term. It's not making your patients reliant on you. It's a new way of care. It's revolutionizing physical therapy. It's a new way of care. It's a higher level of care. And for those people that are willing to pay for a higher level of care, this will change your practice and it will change their lives as well. And so that's all I got to say about it, man. I wanted to just kind of end with that and let you guys know deep down why I'm so passionate about this and why I'm so passionate about concierge models in general. Because I truly, truly, truly believe this can push our profession. I 100% wholeheartedly believe that every single city in our country needs to have a solid concierge physical therapist, a high-level concierge physical therapy practice that can provide a higher level of care, because that is just simply not out there. So guys, if you got any questions, shoot them away. I'd be happy to answer them. But that's all I got. And I hope that was what you guys wanted in regards to learning about subscription models. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions. But once again, you guys, thank you for watching. I love doing this every Wednesday. Sorry we had to skip out on last week. But I was house searching in Texas for houses with my wife, and we found one that's over with. We're selling our house. We're ready to move to Texas. And, we're pretty excited. But anyway, I've got another great topic for you guys next week. Use this group, though. Utilize this group to ask questions, to learn how we can all create these models in our own respective cities and towns. And let's continue to push this, because I think it's one of the biggest movements right now in PT, and it can continue to be so for a long, long time. We just need more people doing this and willing to do it to provide a lot higher level of care for our patients. So anyway, you guys have a great night, and enjoy the rest of your week. See ya.